Egyptian curses, Vatican archives, and some gladiator combat. Honestly, we have a wild one today. Welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. Here are the top 10 ancient secrets most people don't know about. Let's dive in. Kicking off the list at number 10, ancient exercise. Athletic gear today is amazing. We have shoes that correct your stride while you're running. We have backpacks filled with water. We have clothing now designed to keep you cool. How does it even, what? It's quite impressive stuff, but just how did ancient civilizations do it? What did we do before New Balance opened? You know what I mean? Well, ancient Greeks, believe it or not, used to work out naked. Completely naked, just butt nude. The word gymnasium actually translates to the Greek term gymnasion, which meant school for naked exercise. That sounds like a pretty insane school. Xavier's school for gifted youngsters, or Ezekiel's school for naked exercise? How do we pick? Naked exercise? That's the worst place to see naked people, in my humble opinion. Should I go to the squat rack? No, maybe not. I don't know. Hey man, do you mind spotting me? Actually, never mind. I'm actually good, thanks. Number 9. Egyptian tomb curses. The walls of Egyptian tombs are fascinating. The paintings or sometimes carvings were meant to create a peaceful afterlife for those who had passed on. Pharaohs were buried with their treasure, favorite foods, everything wealthy that they owned. They believed they could take all of that with them to the afterlife. This belief, of course, welcomed grave robbers, so in order to prevent any Nicolas Cage national treasure hunters to come snooping by with their flashlights, many of these tombs had curses written on the walls. This one is warning trespassers that gods will wring their neck like that of a goose. Also, if I walked into somebody's property nowadays and it said trespassers' necks will be wrung out like a goose, I would leave. I would turn around immediately. You don't have to be an ancient Egyptian god to get that message across. I'm good. Also, buried in Mastaba, inside the found tomb of Ankh-Mahor, a pharaoh official from 4,000 years ago, a curse was written. Might do against this, my tomb, the same shall be done to your property. It also warns of Ankh-Mahor's knowledge of secret spells and magic, and threatens to fill impure intruders with a fear of seeing ghosts. Again, there's that, or there's beware of dog. Number 8. Dung beetles. Ah yes, dung beetles, the poop beetles, also known as scarabs. They're the only species in the entire world that instinctively follow the Milky Way. They just know to follow the Milky Way. How insane is that? You know how some animals just know to do things, like sea turtles, when they're hatched, they immediately sprint to the ocean to avoid, being plucked by giant seabirds. They know to go towards the sea naturally. These beetles would naturally follow the line of the Milky Way, and they would at the same time roll their poop towards it for some reason. First species in the animal kingdom to do this. So are dung beetles trying to phone home? Why does their planet need so much poop? Why are they rolling it towards the cosmos? Does Thor need this? Does Odin need all this? Symbols of these beetles are seen either in hieroglyphics in Egypt, but also near the sacred lake at the Temple of Karnak, there's a massive dung beetle monument, a poo-poo bug monument. Look at this thing, it's beautiful. There's even a legend still to this day behind the statue that if you walk around it 9 times, you would find health, wealth, and love. The scarab is there to represent the god Khepri, which at the time, Egyptians believed was the sun. I grew up thinking the sun was a baby. Thanks, Teletubbies. Number 7. Weak wine. When we think of ancient Greeks, we think of wine and parties and apparently naked exercise, right? But was it really a drunken festival of love all the time? Did they rock and roll all night and party every day? Ancient Greeks rarely drank wine without diluting the hell out of it first. The water to wine ratio was something like 4 to 1. 4 to 1! That's insane. That's basically just water. That's crystal light you're drinking. I guess it's a good thing because you don't have to worry about waking up at 4 a.m. dehydrated. The ancient Greeks believed that drinking undiluted wine could cause blindness or insanity. Again, I think that's just called being drunk and maybe blacking out. I don't know. The 4th century poet Amphis had your back though. The best way to cure those ancient hangovers, according to thee, was to boil cabbage. And in order to keep the party going without embarrassing yourself after drinking too much sparkling Merlot, the key apparently was to bake and eat a pig's lung. That's the trick to never getting drunk. Again, I think that's just food that helped here in this situation. Either way, if you're gonna drink, do so responsibly. Number 6. Greek statues. We've all done it at one point, okay? You're at a museum, you see this statue in front of you. It's massive. The dude has like 16 abs, he's made of bronze, he's 12 feet tall. The amount of detail gone into their body and all those muscles, it's jaw-dropping to say the least. Their fingernails, their dimples, muscles everywhere. But did you know ancient Greeks would make statues, they would make that small on purpose. Men who were, well endowed were more often than not fools. They only ruled for lust. If you had a big brain, however, oh, buddy, you were the talk of the town. They would whisper in the wind as you pass by. I heard Alexander has a massive brain. Have you seen his brain? Whenever an actor would play a fool on stage, they would be given a comedically large setup. That's how you know he's the fool/villain. The way we see these statues today of these ancient rulers, it meant that they had self-control and intelligence. This whole time I thought they were just in a cold room, but you know what? That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help. Hit that like button. I'm here to historically help you on your statue knowledge. Number 5. 2020 mummies. Yeah, as if 2020 wasn't stressful enough, here's some more. Turns out we also found a lot of mummies. I'm glad Brendan Fraser's returning to Hollywood, because it sounds like we might need him to suit up again real soon. I don't know. Back in 2020, while we were stuck inside watching Netflix, more than 100 sealed coffins were found in Egypt. These findings date back to 712 BC, which was a period where Egypt was controlled by foreign civilizations like Persians and ancient Greeks. These coffins were still occupied, still untouched, and hidden for thousands of years. The discovery has confirmed that Saqqara was the main burial site of the 26th dynasty, including the first known burial pyramid. That's a scary pyramid. Number 4. Colosseum Hecklers. When the Colosseum was built in 80 AD, about 50 to 80,000 fans of Roman sport would just pour in. The energy here was high. This was their only source of entertainment. You know, they didn't have DVDs or anything like that. So some fans would get so into the action that they would heckle gladiators. Well, just like a comedy show, when you heckle, they too can hear you. You're throwing off their entire game, and that's a no-go. It's gonna have to stop. Other people are also here trying to enjoy the same show. Today, a 19-year-old usher will ask you to keep it down a few times before kicking you out. But in Roman Colosseum days, buddy, you didn't get a warning. One of Rome's more violent emperors, Domitian, he was a die-hard fan when it came to the Colosseum and its games. So much so that one guy in the crowd heckled a gladiator one day, and the emperor had him pulled from the audience and then thrown into the center of the arena. And also, no, he did not leave that arena that day. Hey Maximus, smile! Me? Number 3. Crappy jobs. The groom of the stool was perhaps one of the worst jobs to have in the Middle Ages. But it's one of the most important. The groom of the king's close stool was a position created during King Henry VIII's reign. Their job was to wipe the king's behind. Yeah, and if that doesn't sound horrible enough, this poor lad would also have to carry around the king's stool with him on his back, like a backpack, like he's going to school, the big backpack full of poop. He would also have to monitor the king's meal times, and they would also plan their day around when they thought the king was going to experience a bowel movement. They were just gonna have to wait around until it happens. If I were the king, I would be so anxious if a little dude just started hanging out near me. He's like, hey boss, you feeling all right? You good? A little full? A lot of bread you ate there, eh? Why don't you take a 5? Trust me. Trust me. This job was an honor to have. Sons of noblemen were awarded this role. You would get pretty close to the king, I mean, obviously, but as time went on, these grooms o' stools became secretaries to the king, eventually getting a higher pay and benefits. Number 2. Vatican secret archives. The archives are 53 miles long. There's around 35,000 volumes of catalog in them, and the Vatican's secret archives are honestly no joke. They're very real, but in order to see them for yourself, it's gonna take some time. Those indexes are not public, hence why I included it in this top secret video. You're welcome. Only scholars can access them after they're 75 years old. Their official purpose is to house official paperwork, and of course it's a treasure trove of anything and everything related to the Pope. It's also full of ancient documents, because I mean, where else do you safely store a letter from Mary Queen of Scots, for example? Yeah, Mary Queen of Scots was killed after serving roughly 20 years in custody, but eventually she was sentenced to death for conspiring to kill Queen Elizabeth I. Before she met her fate, however, she wrote a letter to Pope Sixtus V, literally begging for her life. But evidently, the Pope did not intervene, and on February 8th, 1587, Mary Queen of Scots was executed. You know, letters like that. For example, I've played too much Assassin's Creed, I think, in my life. Vatican letters? I'm on my way, Ezio. Let's do this. Number 1, the less armor, the better. It's 70 AD, it's ancient Roman times, you're walking into the Colosseum, you're feeling hyped, right? You're eyeing down that 8'6" monster in front of you, his name's Gore or something terrifying. If you had to battle these guys, you would want a weapon of some sort. A Nerf bat, give me, like I don't care, literally anything. Weapons in the Colosseum were a necessity, but did you know some gladiators would use nets to fight? Nets, like they're catching butterflies. This class was referred to as the Retiari. Their combat style was built around the ways of fishermen, hence the nets. Yeah, Popeye versus Maximus. Place your bets, guys. Who's gonna get it? Popeye would for sure f him up. More often than not, these gladiators would use nets and a trident. How cool is that? They would take their time too. They also wouldn't wear any armor. They try and keep it light and be fast. They would take their time avoiding these mighty swings from these colossal warriors and then eventually, you know, tire them out. And then when the time was just right, they would toss a net over them and then proceed to poke them as hard and as fast as they could. They would poke the out of them. It helps to be quick, but if you've seen Game of Thrones, you know spears don't always work. Guys, those are the top 10 ancient secrets most people don't know about. Hit that thumbs up, go to the comments if you want a part 2, and I shall return with all that knowledge and bring this here to you. I'm Taylor McWaters. We'll see you next time. Peace.